Hey everybody, welcome to Give Me 5 minutes with Fort Smith City Director Neil Martin. I want to wish you a good Sunday and a happy Father's Day. To all the fathers out there, we're thankful for you and thankful for what you do with your kids and raising your kids. So I want to give a shout out to all the fathers out there. Let's go ahead and jump into our topics for this week. We didn't have a meeting last week. We were supposed to have a study session. It ended up getting canceled. It's been moved to another day. So let's go back a couple weeks. We've got our last voting meeting was June 4th. And on that meeting, we agreed on most items. There were a couple items that were removed that we did not consider. One was the Military Compatibility Area Overlay District. That'll be on our agenda this week. I'll talk about that in just a little bit. And then we also removed an item from consideration regarding mobile spay and neuter services from an outside entity. They withdrew. There's some things going on with that, and they withdrew, and we didn't consider that. We did disagree on a couple items. One was amending our Unified Development Ordinance and giving the authority for planning inspectors that work in our planning department, giving them the ability to issue citations for chickens and roosters on property. Whereas I've been for enforcing those rules. It was me that was against it. I voted against this because I didn't feel like it was appropriate to allow citation authority from non-police other government entities. So that was a philosophical thing that I chose to not vote for. I was the only one opposed. It was 5-1 in voting for it. I was against it. We also had another item that we disagreed on, and that was entering into agreement to sell a remnant of property at 724 Garrison Avenue. It was a parking area that the owner of the Italian restaurant down there had requested that they purchase so that they would have parking spots for their patrons, the people that are visiting that restaurant and the other folks that work in that building. That was 5-1. Director Kevin Settle voted against that. I encourage you to go to fortsmithar.gov/watch. There you can watch the meeting. You can see all the discussion on the items that I just mentioned or on any other item. You can see how your directors voted. You can see all that information by going to fortsmithar.gov/watch. So that was our meeting on the 4th. Our next meeting this Tuesday on June 18th is another voting meeting. And as always, these meetings are at the Blue Lion, 101 North 2nd Street in downtown Fort Smith. There's a few things on the agenda, some very important things. One being what I mentioned from our meeting 2 weeks ago was we'll be voting on the Military Compatibility Area Overlay District. A lot of discussion going on around this. We will be voting on that this Tuesday. We also will be voting on how to proceed in an instance where Parrot Island Water Park collected sales tax from, say, May of 21 till November of 23, and they shouldn't have. It's about $402,000, and that is we're entering into the vote would be to enter into an agreement to where those funds will be held and then hopefully redistributed back to those that were improperly collected sales tax. So we hire a third-party company. It's called ARM, American Resort Management. They manage the water park for us, and in this instance, they've implemented a point-of-sale system that charged sales tax, and they shouldn't have. So that we'll be voting on that. I encourage you to pay attention to that. And a couple other things. We'll be voting to acquire water line easements in connection with the Lake Fort Smith water transmission line. This is phase 3. And if you remember, this is the 48-inch water transmission line that is part of the reason the city of Fort Smith is wanting to raise water rates to be able to deliver more water to the city of Fort Smith. That is not on our agenda yet, but I wanted you to be aware of that this piece of it, this section of it. But I encourage you to go to fortsmithar.gov. You can see the full agenda, and then I encourage you to watch the meeting or come down to the Blue Lion on Tuesday. That's it for this week's Give Me Five. I hope the information was informative and made you better aware of the items that are in front of your board of directors. And we'll do this again next week on Give Me Five.